Hello lovelies. Well, I'm back today and I have a page in my daily journal, and this page I created this with some lovely Flutterby Designs products for my Flutterby Designs DT post. Now, this is a page using the, Isolated and Unmotivated collection. Now, I'm finding this collection is absolutely perfect to document those, COVID moments that are popping up in my journal a little, here and there. So I love this stencil, by the way, but basically I find that this little mini collection that Nita released is fantastic for documenting in my journal especially. So I've used this a lot mostly in my journal, as well as, scrapbooking here and there. I plan to scrapbook this same photo as well, but I was just updating my journal and I knew that this would be perfect. So I've just started with some paint, because in my journal every now and then I do like to throw some paint, put some pictures. It's not just, where I write. I brain dump a lot. I do collage. I just, throw paint around. So I've put down some paint from my Flutterby Flutter Colour paint. And then I've used the Knucklehead stencil. Now, I love this stencil. It is fantastic. When I first got it, I was actually a little iffy, like, what am I ever going to use it for? But I couldn't resist and I grabbed it. And I tell you what, I've been using it a lot this year, that's for sure. So what I did is I took off some of the paint with a wet one, just so that stencil was there, but it wasn't really in your face. It was pushed to the background a bit. And then because I can't not, I added some white splatters using my Cheap and Nasty white paint pen. I call this my Cheap and Nasty white paint pen because it's a very cheap paint pen from a cheapy shop, and I don't use it for anything except splatters. It just gives me really beautiful splatters. And then I've got another Flutterby stencil, and this is the one I've decided to use in my foreground. So I'm using black paint so that is the first thing you see in my background. So it really pops, and it's pushing that Knucklehead stencil back to the background a bit, but you can see the difference in texture. So I really did enjoy using both stencils. One, I just love the Knucklehead stencil, and two, it just gives me layers. So even though I've only used two different colours, it's giving me layers to build on for my background. So what I'm documenting here is how Corona got us. So when you see my journaling, it says we got Rona'd. Now, I just want to make it clear, none of us have COVID-19. None of us came down with coronavirus. But due to the situation in the world, my husband woke up with a bit of a temperature and a blocked nose. And of course, working in the service industry, he had to then ring his boss, who then confirmed, yes, you need to go get tested. So my husband spent 3 hours down waiting to get tested, and then until his results came back in, had to home isolate, which then proceeded in me having to call the children's schools to see what the process was, because technically, my understanding was we didn't have to isolate if we didn't have symptoms. But in the end, we all just decided to isolate anyway, because, that common sense made sense to us. So, we spent Monday, Tuesday at home. He did get his results back Tuesday night. I would like to make that clear. And they did come back negative, which we were 98% certain they would. But yes, so it was definitely an interesting time. I feel that this is, if it hadn't have been for the way the world is, obviously he would have just had a cold and wouldn't have had to go through the process. But this is, when I add my journaling, this is just, I was just documenting how, even though none of us have COVID-19, thank goodness, this was still, we got Rona'd because of the way the situation is in the world. Yeah, it definitely affected all of us in the sense that we had to self-isolate. He had to get cotton buds shoved up his nose and all that jazz. So I just wanted to use this collection to document this photo because I found it really quite fitting. So with the Isolated and Unmotivated collection, there are a lot of journaling spots in there. So a lot of the cards have journaling spots. This is why I find it really great to add into my journal, because as you can see, they're really great to document all of what's happening, and how COVID is affecting your life and your family and things like that. So what I did is I fussy cut this picture of my husband out that I took because he had to wear his lovely mask. So when he come home, he had his mask and things. So I took this picture, and I normally stick my pictures as they are, but recently following Anita inspires me a lot. I love her layouts and her things, and sometimes I've seen in some of them that she fussy cuts the photos. Oh, sorry about that. So I thought for this picture it just worked really well. So I fussy cut my photo, I've layered it on top of my documenting spot, and then I've used a few sentence enhancer little bits and pieces, and some I also added a little border strip thingy just to cover up the bottom of that photo so it sort of blends all in. And then of course I had to add a border because it just felt like it needed one. So basically this is how I decided to document this little story from our week, and this collection from Flutterby Designs was the absolute perfect collection to do it. So I'm just adding a few more bits and pieces in with that cross stencil just to make it look a bit more, I hate straight lines, they bug me. So I just wanted to make it look a bit more haphazard. And then that's going to be it for the page. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I also hope that you enjoy seeing how I can use my supplies, not just in my art journal or for scrapbooking, but also in my regular day-to-day journal. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back real soon. Bye for now.